Hey there, Robert Ferringo with Doc Sports, here to talk to you a little bit about why you should be betting early season college basketball. That's non-conference college basketball. I have been a professional handicapper for 15 years. I've had people ask me all the time, what's your best sport? Okay, what's your favorite sport? What sport do you make the most money in? They always ask this, and my answer is always the same. Without fail, unwaveringly simple. Non-conference college basketball. Every year, November and December, college basketball. It is the best time of year for gamblers, professionals, amateurs, anyway. This is the best time of year for you to make money betting on sports. All right? Maybe you are having a great year. Maybe you're having a fantastic year up until this point. All right, you cleaned up in the NBA playoffs, had a great baseball season, you're off to a big start in football, and you're looking for a way to press that advantage, all right, and to really blow it out and have your best year ever. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you've been getting knocked around all year. Maybe you've gotten crushed in football up until this point, and you're looking to get yourself back to even or get yourself out of the hole. Doesn't matter what your motivations are. The operation is simple here. There is no other time of the year in any other sport that is as lucrative to be betting on sports as college basketball in November and December. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about why. First, why listen to me? Okay? Well, over the last 13 years, my November and December non-conference college basketball picks have posted over $63,000 for my $100 per unit bettors. Okay, think about that for a second. That means over the last 13 years, I feel like that's a pretty large sample size, my clients have averaged nearly $5,000 of profit in just these 2 months with just my college basketball picks. It's actually around $4,920 is the exact count. All right, and let's put this in another perspective, okay? Doc's unit system, we grade everything based on 1 unit equals $100. But in actuality, the way you should be betting this is 1 unit should be equal to 1% of your bankroll. So by that metric and that measure, my clients have shown a 50% profit, a 50% return on investment over 2 months in college basketball on average for 13 years. I've posted a profit in 12 of those 13 years. I did. I had 1 losing non-conference season. The other 12 years, though, stacks on stacks on stacks. 3 times in those 12 years that I posted a profit out of the 13, I more than doubled my clients' bankrolls. I went over $10,000 in profit, more than doubled their bankrolls, went over 100% essentially within those first 8 weeks of the season. So you could double your bankroll. Like realistically, this is not, oh, this happened that one time in 2009. I was just unconscious. I've done it 3 times. On average, I've shown that 50% return. So that's why I know what I'm talking about here. All right, it's like one of those machines. You ever seen it's like a photo booth that you get in and they turn on the fan and it's blowing money all over and you grab as much money as you can in a certain amount of time, then you step out. That's what non-conference college basketball is like for bettors. And I want to talk to you a little bit about why those reasons are. The first reason is no one is paying attention. No one is paying attention right now. Have you heard anyone talking about college basketball? On SportsCenter, on Fox Sports, your local radio guy, reading online, okay, on the front page of any of the major sports sites, anybody, anywhere. Unless you're a college basketball fan that is seeking out college basketball information, have you heard anyone talking about college basketball right now? No. No one is paying attention. That's probably the number 1 reason why this is the best time of the year. Right now, everyone's into football, betting football every weekend. That's where the overwhelming majority of the sports and sports betting attention goes. You also have the NBA. You have the NHL. Baseball just ended, so there's a lot of attention in the playoffs and the World Series rather than talking about the upcoming college basketball season with the same attention that, let's say, training camp or college football preseason gets or baseball spring training. There's none of that. There's no talk in the lead up to the season. The season is going to start next week, and everyone's going to be like, oh, hey, look, college basketball. Who knew? All right? The odds makers know this, and they understand this. They only have so many hours in the day. So where are they going to put their attention right now when it comes to having the best and strongest lines? They're going to put it into football or the NBA or the sports that more people are interested in. All right? These are the revenue drivers for them. And right now, college basketball is not a big revenue driver for the sports books. So they are getting less attention. No one's paying attention right now. Reason number 2, there are a ton of games. A ton of games. All right? On the Tuesday that starts the season, there's going to be around 70 lined games in college basketball. All right? Think about that for a second. In the NFL on Sunday, even if everybody's playing, even if there's no bye weeks, you get 16 games. In college football, even in a full college football weekend card, you have around 60 games, but those are in what? One day? Those are on Saturday. All right, yeah, you got a handful of Thursday games, you got 2 or 3 Friday games, whatever, but for the most part, it's 60 games on Saturday. This is 70 games in college basketball on a Tuesday. Multiply that by 7. All right, you have hundreds of games. That is hundreds of opportunities for you to find a weak line, to find a good situation. And you only need a few of them. I'm more aggressive in my betting, but if you're one of these guys that likes to only play 2 or 3 games a day or 1 or 2 games a day, you only need to find one spot out of 70. Okay? More opportunities because there are a ton of games, literally hundreds of games. So go back to what we were talking about with point number 1, where the odds makers are not paying as much attention. They're not paying as much attention, and they are inundated with games that they have to post lines on. All right, which leads to point number 3. The lines are predictable, and they are soft. I have cracked the code. All right, there's some simple mathematics at work. I'm not going to share them because that is my secret. But I have cracked the code on how odds makers set their numbers. I can predict within half point either way, 95% of the spreads the first 3 weeks of the college basketball season. I mean days out from the season even started. I can tell you what the numbers are going to be on the 10th day of the season. And then throughout the year, and especially throughout these next 2 months, I can tell you with a high degree of certainty what the spreads are going to be on these games. They're soft. They are soft. They move a lot. If you get on these numbers early, there are movements that open up some middling situations. There's a lot of weak numbers out there. Why? Because nobody's paying attention. There's a ton of games, and the odds makers are predictable in how they make their spreads. Number 4, all right? This one's more from the bettor standpoint, okay? And this is why there's not a lot of impetus on the sports books and on the odds makers to change what they have done for years and years and years. And that's because people are not very good at betting college basketball early in the season. There are a lot of games. There are a lot of teams. There is a lot of turnover. There's probably more turnover in college basketball than in any other sport, professional or college, okay? Bettors have this tendency, and this is across all sports. When a season starts, they bet teams like they were betting them the last season. All right, everyone takes the last impression that we got from a team the previous season. New season starts, and it's like people forget. This is an entirely new season. Everyone's back to zero. Things have changed. With college basketball, players have transferred. They've graduated. There's freshmen. There's injuries. There's a lot of variables out there. All right? But people have a tendency to bet teams based on how they were betting them the last time they saw them, which was probably the NCAA tournament. So they lose money because they're not up to speed. They haven't been doing their homework. They haven't been paying as much attention to the University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the transfers they got, or Nebraska and their new coach and their new transfers, or what's going on with BYU, or Middle Tennessee State, or Florida International. I do. I follow all of those teams. I can tell you exactly what's going on with them. Most bettors can't. Who's got the time to do that type of stuff? All right, I'm a professional. This is what I do. This is why I know. Point number 5, and why college basketball is the best time of the year to make money, is that there are a lot of awkward matchups in the non-conference, and there's a lot of preseason tournaments. You have Thanksgiving tournaments, you have preseason NIT stuff, you have ACC Big Ten Challenge, you have Christmas tournaments. You get a lot of awkward situations that the odds makers don't really know how to predict or react to. It's not the same as conference play. In conference play, you have a whole slew of information. You have track record, you have backgrounds, you have trends. You get a lot of things that are predictive when it comes to conference play. You don't have that with non-conference play. You don't have that when Miami plays Ohio State in college basketball, because you don't see that very often. All right, when USC plays Nebraska on a neutral site in Kansas City. All right, that's difficult for the odds makers, and it's difficult for bettors to wrap their minds around. With these tournaments, there are quick turnarounds. You have a tournament like Maui, which is one of the most popular. Okay, the Maui Invitational. You have 4 games, 8 teams playing 4 games on the first day. And then they split off into winners and losers brackets. So you have completely different matchups the next day. The books have a quick turnover on those numbers and on those odds, as opposed to during the regular season where, the schedule is set in stone. Once again, it is easier to find weak lines in those situations because the odds makers are under the gun. They're scrambling to set strong numbers, and it's very difficult for them to do so. All right, number 6. 6th reason why this is the best time of year to be betting on sport. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Variables. Basketball has the fewest variables of any given sport to bet on. All right, so it's a little bit more static. Let's think about a college football game. You have 11 starters on offense, 11 starters on defense. You have specialists on special teams, kickers, punters, return men. You have the backups then, nickel corners, middle linebackers a backup, third string receivers, or the number 3 receiver. Any one of these guys can blow your bet with a stupid penalty, a turnover, or just doing something ridiculous. So on any given college football team, let's say there are 40 guys, any one of which can screw your bet. Times that by 2 because there's 2 teams. So we're talking about 80 different variables. Then on top of that, the officials, the coaches, things like that. There's 80-something variables that you have to be concerned about over the course of a football game. Basketball. 5 starters, 2 or 3 bench players, a coach. 5 starters, 2 or 3 bench players, a coach, a couple refs. You got maybe 20. Maybe 20 variables that you really have to know, understand, and be concerned about. All right? Gambling isn't magic, it's mathematics. And if you have an equation with fewer variables, that's going to be a little bit easier to figure out. Okay? The number 7 reason why you should be betting non-conference basketball and you should be full bore from day one is that there is money to be made in a very short time to do it. Like I talked about before, it's like being in that money booth where they turn it on and you got 60 seconds to stuff your pockets. Okay? You got 8 weeks. It is a very small window that we have to work with. By January, football is all but done. College and the NFL. I mean, you got some NFL playoffs, but the attention has shifted. The NBA and NHL, they're old hat, where right now they still have that new car smell on them. People are going to be paying attention to college basketball. That becomes the most heavily bet sport for 3 months, January, February, and March. So all that attention that the odds makers weren't giving to the sport in November, they are now focused on that sport in January, February, and March because that is where the majority of their handle is. Not only that, but by then, the books and the public have 2 months worth of data on these teams. They've caught up on who's good, who's not good, who got hurt, who transferred, what's going on. Okay, there's a little bit more certainty because we've seen these teams go through their non-conference portion of the schedule. All right, we want to take advantage of the chaos. We want to take advantage of the uncertainty. By being more prepared than everyone else, this is our time. Let everybody else wait till January before they know what they're doing. We know what we're doing now, and we're going to take advantage of what the sports books are offering right now. Things get tighter. They get harder later in the season. This is the time to do it. So that's it. That is why I am excited for the start of the college basketball betting season. That is why you should be excited for the start of the college basketball betting season. This year it starts on Tuesday, November 5th. I already know what the numbers are going to be. I already know what games I'm going to have. I'm going to have a big play on Tuesday to get things started, another big play on Wednesday. I don't like things as much on Thursday, and then I have a big play on Friday. I plan on hitting all three of them and getting off to a great start. All right. Our early bird specials are available at Doc Sports right now. Make sure you take advantage. This is the best price of the season to get a full season's package, or just pick up a couple monthly packages and ride my picks for a couple of months here. But college basketball is here. I am extraordinarily excited about it. You should be too. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me rant and rave. Be sure to check me out at www.docsports.com. Carpe diem, and good luck.